You're watching HaMa TV, alternative television.
He's a cricketer, one-time captain of the West Indies cricket team, ambassador, Sports Tourism Authority director, nature lover, spearfishing enthusiast, and man of many parts. His cricket career ended in controversy, and yet he still plays and tries to inspire others to do well in a sport that brought him fame. Quiet, with a solid sense of self, yet he wanted to be Michael Jackson. Today, we're in conversation with Richie Richardson. Richie, when you retired from cricket, at what point did you know it was time for you to go?
Well, frankly speaking, I never thought that I would continue to play cricket forever, and I've always been a person to plan my life ahead. And I had started planning even 5 years before I retired as to exactly what time I would retire. It worked out that I did retire maybe a year or a couple of months before the time that I had planned that I would retire. At the time that I did retire, I was under a lot of stress. I had played cricket for most of my life. When I became a professional, I was playing 12 months a year, no vacation, missed out doing the things I love doing. So I was totally dedicated to cricket, and I gave my all. And because of that, I was burnt out. I'd lost the passion, the will to get up in the mornings to go and do it. And even though I was committed and I always tried to give 100%, it was just too much on the body. A lot of people were saying that I was too young and I should have continued playing. I was prepared to do that, but maybe it wasn't the best thing for my health. I believe that once you've lost the passion for a game, for a sport, you've got to do something else. Maybe if I were to do it again, I would plan better. I probably would not have played so much. I would have taken breaks rather than playing 12 months a year. I would have taken breaks in between. But I had to do that because in those days, as you know, there was not much money in cricket, and in order to sustain your lifestyle and so on, you had to try and accumulate as much as possible, especially when you know that your career wasn't going to last for more than 10 to 15 years if you're healthy and if you're successful. So I had to really cramp a lot of cricket in that time, and I loved doing what I was doing. I believe that I was serving my country, and I just was going to give all that I could give.
And at what point did you say, that's it?
Well,
today?
I took over the captaincy of the West Indies in 1991, towards the end of 1991. And by the end of 1992, I started feeling really, really tired. And it was a weird feeling. I'd feel as if I have a flu or a virus or something. I'd be tired at times, and there are times when I want to sleep, I couldn't sleep. And there are times when I'm on the cricket field, I just feel like I just wanted to sleep, and then that was affecting my concentration. And I'm a person who don't really believe in giving up, and I decided I was going to fight it and fight it and fight it. I saw doctors wherever I went. I saw doctors in Australia, South Africa, in the West Indies, in England, even in Canada, and nobody was sure what was happening to me. They all speculated it might have been some virus. I did a lot of tests. Nothing was revealed. Eventually I saw Professor Mowbray in St. Mary's Hospital in London, and he was just doing research on chronic fatigue syndrome. And he suggested that I might have been suffering from that because I've been playing cricket non-stop for, about 12 years or so. And even though they weren't conclusive information on chronic fatigue syndrome at the time, he suggested that that was my situation, and he advised me to take a break from the game. Now that was the most difficult thing for me to do because cricket was my job. I was doing it for my country. I was serving my country, serving people, and to say to West Indies Cricket Board that I'm unavailable because I'm not well, that was difficult because I was still looking physically fit. I was, nothing was wrong with me externally. It's just that inside, my body, my system was not functioning properly, and nobody could see it. You'd have to feel it. And it was a weird feeling, and that stayed with me for a couple of years. And I just didn't know what to do to get rid of it. When I took the break from West Indies cricket in 1995, I still had a problem for a couple of months. I went away from Antigua and from the West Indies, where nobody could contact me, where I could just be on my own, and I struggled. And to be honest, how I revived myself, came back to Antigua, spent some time doing the things that I used to do, like going to the beach, getting up in the morning, doing some jogging, playing a bit of beach football, doing spearfishing, which is my favorite hobby, and started dieting. I started eating mainly fish, vegetables, and stuff like that. And I lost a lot of weight, and I didn't even realize that I was losing weight, but I was feeling better and better, and gradually I started, feeling a lot better. And by the beginning of 1996, I was feeling very good, but I still at times, whenever I did a lot, I would still feel a bit tired. So, and in the meantime, I was doing a lot of reading on chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's a situation that's been very dangerous in the terms that it has destroyed a lot of people's lives, because the doctors couldn't really tell you exactly what it was, how to deal with it, and it has been a problem for a number of not only sports people, but people who overwork. I've had many phone calls and contacts from people all over the world, Australia, even Japan. People have contacted me because they realize I've had that problem and expressed their concern. Even as recently as this year, there's a guy here in Antigua who has been contacting me because he's now suffering from the same problem. He's been to doctors in the States, wherever, and he just cannot really solving problems. So it's a serious situation, but I was able to overcome that. And during all that, I knew that I could not continue to play cricket forever, and I had to take a break at some stage. And that at the time I did, I thought it was the right time. Also, there were other things that had influenced me at the time. I wasn't happy with a lot of things that was happening in West Indies cricket at the time, and that was frustrating me as well. Things were changing in the cricket world, and I just believed that we weren't moving with the times. And as captain, too much pressure was being put on me at the time. I had to actually beg for a coach. My role as captain in the team was not only as captain, but I felt like I was coach, I was counselor, I was even father of the team. So all that, and I could not get the support from the Western Cricket Board. They did not have that system in place, that support system for the captain and things like that. I used to, on tour, I used to get 1,000,001 faxes, messages, phone calls, nobody to monitor these for me. So, I would want to be resting to prepare myself for cricket. The phone will never stop ringing. And it doesn't matter how much you tell the operators not to put you in the calls. Somebody, mostly journalists, are going to find a way of getting through, So it was a tough time for me. And if I were to do it again, I know I would do it differently. Maybe a lot of people probably would not be happy with the way I would do things, but you have to be selfish to a point, because if you're not, everybody would just, everybody, they always wanted a piece of you, and if you're not really selfish and say no at times, then you would end up suffering.
Did you have any regrets when you stepped away finally and said, that's it? Did you say, maybe I should go on, maybe 2 more?
No, when I did make the decision, a lot of people were surprised. Even people within the Western Cricket Board wanted me to continue. Certainly the chairman of selectors wanted me to continue. And being the patriot that I am, I said that, okay, I don't mind doing it. I would do it for Western Indies cricket. If it's for the sake of the team and Western Indies cricket, I would do it. If you guys want me to do it, I'll do it. But we're going to have to talk about how I'm going to do it, because I have to look about myself at that stage. I made a decision to retire. I knew what I was going through, and I was just going to jump back in like that. We would have to discuss my terms and conditions. They took it the wrong way, apparently, and I remember saying that to David Holford, who was chairman of selectors at the time, and I think he was also the manager of the team. And I don't know how he related back to the president, Peter Short, but Peter Short called me one morning and say, sorry, Richie, we cannot accept your terms and conditions, and that was it. And I said, well, I said, okay, and that was it.
And at that point, you knew, done? That
was it. I wanted to retire. And I would have gone back if they had asked me to come back. The only thing I said, look, we just needed to discuss it, and they sort of like, I don't know how they got it, how they understood it, but it was like, that's it, they ain't gonna deal with me, they ain't gonna discuss it with me.
So when that door was closed, what did you say? What did you do? Did you say, well, okay, next?
Well, first of all, it was a great burden off my shoulder. For about 6 months after I retired, I mean, I've never felt better in my entire life. I mean, I felt free. I mean, I didn't have to get up in the morning. I didn't have an agenda. Nobody planned a program for me. I was free to do whatever I wanted to do. And I felt so good. I was even energized for some reason. I just felt good. I mean, it was probably the best time in my life.
So you said you started planning your retirement a few years before. What did you put in place?
Well, to be honest, what I really wanted to do, and I had tried to put certain things in place, my ambition all along was to develop a multi-sports complex in Antigua and Barbuda, including accommodation and things like that, because I always wanted to continue to make a contribution to sports, and I also noticed at the same time that Antigua is a place that people would love to come and not only play sport, but come and chill out. You know, we have the climate. I mean, look at this. You know, I mean, beautiful weather. We have the beaches, sunshine, everything, and people would want to come here even to rehabilitate. Sports persons would want to come to Antigua, go to the beaches and relax and get ready again. And something I wanted to get involved with, but unfortunately, you know, things haven't quite worked out. I didn't make as much money from the game that I thought that I would have, you know. But such is life, you know. So
how did you pick yourself up? So you said you took your break, you felt better. What did you do next?
Well, I mean, I was still involved with playing a bit of cricket, moving around, promoting the game of cricket. I got involved with Lashes Cricket Club in England, where we started as a little pub team, where most of the guys didn't even know how to put the pads on and all that. We started as a social team, and then we are now probably one of the most popular cricket clubs in the world, because we are now an international club. And now I'm into music, as I'm sure you're aware, with the Jet and the Ballhead. And I've always loved music, and I always wanted to sing and to play an instrument. I always wanted, one of my dreams was to go on a stage and perform, dance like Michael Jackson, or play like, you know, a really great musician. That has always been one of my dreams, but I realized from very early that I would never ever make it as a singer, because at school I used to be you know, all the choirs at church, I used to try and sing, and I just can't make it. And I realized that. In 1988, I bought my first guitar and toured in England, and I was rooming with Clyde Lord at the same time. And you know, I would there be messing around and so on. And Clyde Lord, he loved music as well, and he decided he was going to buy a bass guitar. And then we started messing around, you know, and I showed him a few things. And whenever we got the opportunity to speak to somebody, we'd ask him a few things. And we started having drums in our room, you know. Many times we were threatened to be kicked out of hotels around the world. But that's where we started, really. And then when Curtly retired, just before, well, when he retired, I put on a gig for him and Curtly and Courtney Walsh, because they were two great partners in crime. I put on a gig at Lashings here in Antigua to celebrate. I think they collectively had about maybe nearly 1,000 wickets. So, you know, we were celebrating that. And we did a little gig, and myself and him perform as guests with the former Jet and the Ballhead. And then we had a good time. Then I went off to England, and I think Curtly retired around that same time, just after that, I believe. And then when I got back from England in September, I called Bankers from Jet and the Ballhead, said, you know, me and Ambrose would like to play some music. And he said, good, because I'm broken up from Jet and the Ballhead, and you know, I would like to do something with you guys. So I said, well, let's start something. Then we started practicing here, making a lot of noise, disturbing the neighborhood. You know, some people was wondering what was going on up here, because they weren't really hearing music. But eventually we toiled and toiled and toiled, and now you know, we're not doing too bad. We have produced 3 albums in as many years. We toured England last year, and we sold out all our CDs in the UK. We're going back to England again this year in the summer. We're going to be linked up with Lashings, where we're going to do a road show all over the southern part of UK. We are also going to New York next week to take part in Caribbean Tourism Week, where we're going to be working with the Antigua Tourist Office in New York to promote Antigua and cricket, World Cup Cricket 2007. So myself, Sir Viv Richards, Curtly Ambrose, Jordan Ballhead, along with Rupert Baba Blaze, Ambassador, will be going up there. You know, Obster will be involved as well, to try and promote cricket and Antigua as much as possible.
So you've got your dream, you're on stage performing. Well, what's it like for you? Because I mean, people still see you as Richie Richardson, cricketer.
Well, to be honest,
do they separate?
Even though that was one of my dreams, at this stage I'm just doing the music for a bit of fun. But obviously, whatever I do, I want to do it to the best of my ability. So, you know, I'm working really hard at it and trying to be as good as I can be. But at the end of the day, if Jordan Ballhead does not make it as an international band, then as long as I enjoy what I do and we do it properly, then I'll be very, very happy.
Are you still surprised that people want to meet Richie Richardson even though you haven't played, you know, cricket for X amount of years? Are you still like...
Well, I think that's a good thing. It means that I have done something to have impacted their lives so that they still remember. I mean, I've always been a person who wanted to do great things but wanted to be faceless. Whatever I do, I don't look for any sort of compliments or any thank yous or anything like that. I do it because I want to do it, and I enjoy doing things that's going to have a positive impact on people's lives, and I don't look for anything in return. So, but such is life. People are going to always recognize you for the good things that you do, and also for the bad things that you do. Hopefully, I don't believe I've done too many bad things. So people mostly talk of me nicely, which I think is a very good thing.
What keeps you going? What makes Richie say, yes, I want to do this? Is it your faith? Is it people? What is it?
Well, life. I think the object of living is to develop oneself and to create the opportunity for others to develop themselves as well. And as long as I can get the opportunity to do something positive for people, for my country, that will always motivate me. That's what really keeps me going, knowing that I'm able, or I'm given the opportunity to do something positive for people, and in particular youths, kids. You know, I still go around to schools in Antigua and do a bit of talking, motivational speaking and things like that, play a little bit of cricket with them and stuff like that. You know, I still love doing it because I realize that the youths are the ones for the future, and it's important that people like myself, people who have achieved in life, to go back and try and rub shoulders with them, try to encourage them, try to let them know what it's like to be successful and to represent your country.
What's your earliest memory? What can you remember as far back as you can?
I can remember, I'm not sure if I'll be able to put an age to it, but I believe I probably would be like 3 years old, 4 years old, being with my father. He was a fisherman. He also had a lot of livestock, like sheep, goats, cows, donkeys, turkeys, hens, chickens, all that sort of stuff. And just being with him, you know, being around the animals and stuff like that, I mean, I really like that. I mean, I just learn a lot from just how animals interact. And up to this day, if you move around my property, you might find various types of animals. You know, some of them might even surprise you, but I love animals. My dogs, I mean, I have about 10 of them at the moment, and I love them dearly. They're very loyal to me, very special. And I love animals and I love plants, and it's my way of interacting with nature. But I still think that God created other things for us to learn from as well, and I believe you can learn from animals, just the way they interact. I mean, I have a lot of fish. When I was a little kid, I used to sit down in front of my aquarium before I go to school in the morning, just watch the fish. Just how they move around, they do things and so on. I come back home from school, I'll put my books down right there, watch the fish, you know, before I go and do my homework and things like that. And I just love animals and love nature.
You talked about your father briefly. How much of an influence is your family in your life?
Well, my father died when I was 6 years old, so I didn't get a chance to. I mean, I remember when I was about 3, 4, 5. I mean, we spent a lot of time together because he used to work at nights as well, So during the day, he'd be home looking about the animals and various stuff. So I used to spend a lot of time with him before I went to school. And, you know, he was very loving and caring and very strong, very strong individual. You know, obviously he died when I was 6, so I missed him, and he didn't really have as much impact on my life that I would have liked. But I think he did enough. My mother, she was the one who basically nurtured me, and I still think that she's the one who has made me the sort of individual that I am. You know, when she died, it's like part of me went as well, and my life has never been the same because she had such an impact on my life. Even sport, she's always been very supportive. We had a relationship where sometimes we don't even have to talk. She would know what I'm thinking, and I would know what she's thinking, and she's always been there for me 100%. And I thought she had a lot of difficulty because she basically raised us, 2 brothers and a sister, by herself. Luckily, my sister Bernadine, she was well, she's a bit older, so she was able at some stage to sort of like play a supporting role as a father as well. So she also had a very positive impact on my life up to this day. You know, she's still very protective. If I jump on the plane and go somewhere and she didn't know, she'd be angry at me. She still wants to be in control of my life. You know, she just wanted to make sure that I'm all right, everything is fine, and things like that. I can recall when I got selected for the West Indies first, you know, she was saying, "How are you going to manage playing with those big men?" I said, "Don't worry." I said, "Don't worry, I'll be okay," you know, because I mean, I don't really see them as big men. I saw them as people who I can go and do well against, and things like that used to motivate me as well. If I see somebody and he's bigger than me, he's better, he's stronger, I always want to try and see if I can outdo him in my own quiet way. And I believe that if I could do that, then it meant that I would have achieved something.
So when you said when you got picked first, your sister said the big men you were playing with, but when you actually went in the room and saw the likes of Viv and Clyde Lord, I mean, as a cricketer fan, how did you feel?
Well, they weren't just big men. I mean, I felt like, even though I had dreams and aspirations of playing for the West Indies, and I felt strongly that I would have made it, when I actually first find myself in the dressing room with these guys, to me it was like being elevated into a heaven, or into a heaven of stars. I mean, it was just like I wasn't walking on the ground. I mean, I was like just floating around among some people who, to me, were untouchable. They were just so special. They were almost godly. I mean, because these guys, I mean, you know, they were icons. And I said to myself, wow, what am I doing here? But quickly I realized, look, I have to get my feet on the ground and try and establish myself, because the fact that I'm there, it meant that I could be like them as well. And it didn't really take me long to establish myself in the West Indies cricket team. It wasn't easy, a lot of hard work. You know, played a couple of matches, got dropped, but that wasn't going to deter me. I was still there. I was never ever dejected, because I knew when I did get dropped initially, I said to myself, obviously I'm not doing well enough, so I've got to work harder. So spend more time in the nets, training, you know, thinking about what I need to do and things like that. You know, I've seen a lot of players, whenever they got dropped, they got disappointed and they hang their head low and they stop practicing and they start blaming selectors and coaches and captains and things like that. I was never like that. I mean, I believe that I was responsible for my success. And I can recall when I was a teenager, I went to Somerset, spent some time with Sir Viv, and lived with him. And I remember he telling me, no man should ever keep you down. And that still stick with me up to today. No man. So you've got to do it for yourself. And if you believe in yourself enough, then nobody can stop you from achieving your goals and aspirations.
You've always come across as kind of guarded or shy, but you actually, in this interview, come out as quite positive. And so which is the real Richie?
Well, I mean, people have always said that I'm shy. I believe I am, but I've always been very reserved. And I'm glad I'm like that, because when you're that way, you know, you tend to observe a lot more, you know, and you learn a lot more, because people sometimes, they're not aware that you are around, because you're not talking, you're not saying much. and you even discover things about them that normally you would not have. I mean, one of my hobbies as well is to study people. I really love just really observing people and try to put a personality to a figure, even to a walk, even to, you know, whatever. I mean, and I'd compare features. I mean, I don't know. I just really find myself getting into that. And a lot of times when I'm traveling and flights are delayed for 3-4 hours, it never bothered me, because especially if you're in an international airport, you get a chance to see people from all walks of life, all parts of the world, different color, creed, and stuff like that. And to me, that was fun, just to observe them, see their antics, you know, the movements, even the clothes they wear. And it was a learning experience for me. I mean, to a point now, I can see somebody walking towards me, and I'll be able to put the whole profile to them, you know, from all angles.
Are there things you still want to do with your life, or are you living the life you really want right now?
No, I've always been a person to be very content. I learned that from my mother, who was very, very humble and God-fearing. And every morning when I wake up, once I realize that I'm breathing, I say thanks. Thanks to the Almighty, because as long as I have health, strength, I can breathe, and I'm happy. That's all I want. I mean, obviously, you like to see things a lot better in terms of the country you live in. I mean, Antigua is a paradise. I mean, I love Antigua, but I'd like to see things better for Antigua. Me personally, I mean, everybody would like greatness, you know, have a lot of money, be able to do whatever. But I'm not going to complain. I'm happy with what I have. I still have to work hard to maintain what I have, and to you know, live a fairly decent life. And nothing is wrong with that, because I believe in working hard.
Is there any dream left that you'd like to do? Climb a mountain, or, you know, play a guitar in front of 20,000 people? I mean, is there?
To be honest, no. What I would love to see, and at this stage I believe it's impossible. First of all, within the Caribbean, I would love to see us come together more as a people. I would like to know that whenever we step out there, we don't see ourselves as Antiguans or Trinidadians or Barbadians. We see ourselves as one Caribbean people. You know, we should be able to move around and embrace each other. And I really would love to see that, because I think it would be better for us economically, in every aspect. I think it would be better for us. But when I was captain of the West Indies, in terms of cricket, I really thought that I could have created some impact on the unification of our people, because cricket, as we all are aware of, is the only thing that really brings us together. But I don't think that it really brings us together in the way that it ought to, because you still find that as much as you expect an Antiguan to always root for an Antiguan, if an Antiguan gets dropped, then you don't find a Bajan journalist or a Bajan making too much noise about that. And I really would love to see that. I still think that we also need to be educated a little bit more about the importance of us really coming together as a force. We are a small nation, relatively speaking, and you know, you have Europe unifying, North America unifying, South America. I mean, so we really have to do something to help ourselves, because if we don't, we're going to find that we're going to continue to get pressure from the bigger powers, and if we stay divided, then we're going to really struggle.
All right, you've had fame, you still have fame, money. Is it addictive, or can you live without it?
I think you might have to rephrase that question, because the fame I can understand. The money I'm not too sure about, because if I have money, I'm not aware of it, because certainly I would not have earned a lot of money from cricket. Now I believe there's a lot more money in cricket, but certainly when I played cricket, number one, I didn't do it for the money, and I did make enough to have a relatively decent life. And to be honest, before I played for the West Indies, I believe after playing for 10 years, that would have set me up in life, but it never really did happen, you know. So I would not say I have money. If I had money, you know, I probably would be doing something. I would be doing a lot of different things. But I wouldn't say I have money. Fame, yes. For me, I would not allow myself to get carried away with fame, because I've seen it destroy a lot of people. And by my own nature, I've always been a humble person, and I just don't want to get too swell-headed, and I don't want to get carried away with the fact that, you know, I've played for my country, I've played at the highest level, and I'm not that sort of person, and I would never ever want to change.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you.